these meetings, because I always feel that if I was a paying parent here, I'd want to know what was going on and why they do things or the decisions are made. My name is Mark Simpson. I'm the director of soccer for NC Fusion Twins. What a name that is, huh? All right, here we go. So if you could just hold your questions to the end, hopefully I can answer them within the presentation. So we're now called the Fusion Way. But I was thinking about this triangle today. And really, for me, coaches and parents, we're here for these. The players are the most important. By far the most important part of it. As coaches, we're trying to develop them, to help them, to guide them. Obviously parents, you've got an incredible amount of jobs in, and these are our core values, which there's always, I feel there's too much, when I'm living in America, I feel too many people talk a good game but don't put words into action. But I hope that those words are things that we do as a club, whether it is the coaches, the players, or the parents. That's an incredibly detailed, confusing model, but all it's trying to show is, so we're over here, this would be the under 12s, the 07s, we're in this part of it here, but we're just showing the pathway ultimately, hopefully for some players they can get on this path and play at the higher level. For some players that might not be, but we have got a level for everyone, which is a wonderful club to be part of, when we do have a level for everyone and there's not one level we don't have. So that's the player development matrix. So for the under 12s, 1 means high priority, 2 means mid priority, 3 means low priority. So physically, it doesn't mean no priority, that's very important. It means a low priority, and that's how we discuss players, how we evaluate players, how we coach players. And we're saying at every level, technique, so the execution. And last week I was in Seattle at this partner club presentation, and to explain all this, they talk about perception, which is awareness, so seeing a picture in your mind, what you want to do. Then can you make the correct decision based on players, space, and then can you execute your technique under pressure? And I thought that was a very interesting way a very simplistic way of looking at it. And if you're ever in a guide to what your son or daughter should work at, character, technique. That's always the 2 most important things. So I think it's very important that you guys get to see this, and I've presented all this information to the coaches, and I know one of the hardest part of my job is every year it's very tough to get new coaches, it's very tough to get young coaches who are hungry. A lot of people have a few years of it and they're either tired of a variety of things, but we have a lot of coaches in our club who have moved up to the elite level, and so you guys might have a new coach and they might be learning. And I always want to let you guys know we're trying to educate them with everything I've got. I try to educate and improve them, but like everyone's a work in progress, myself included. Okay, maybe I've got a little bit more experience than a 25-year-old coach, but I hope you guys can give us the credit that we're trying to improve them. I hold the coaches to these things here. So if they're not doing any of this, please let us know. It's very important. And the most important thing for me is that listen to the players, get to know them as people first. So for young players, build a relationship with them, get to know them, get to know a little bit about them, and then they'll always do more for you. And I always get frustrated when coaches say, oh, well, they'll call me up and they're all fired up and they say, oh, we lost 3-2 this weekend and Johnny had a terrible game at right back. Johnny's 10. And I say, have you asked Johnny if everything's okay? What's going on? Has he had a tough week? Get to know them, get to know what's going on. And in 07, boys and girls, as players, will be inconsistent. I guarantee they're inconsistent when they go to bed, right? Inconsistent with their schoolwork. Is that right? Inconsistent when you tell them they've got to get up in the morning. And that's all I'm trying to say. So in this world as well, we want to demand of them and try to help them excel, but they're going to be inconsistent. And you know, if you're, I'm asking them to work in a professional manner in terms of timekeeping and appearance. If your coach is turning up not looking like a coach, if he's late or she's late, and sometimes in tournament games the coaches are rushing from field to field, but if they start training at 5 o'clock and the coach is rocking in at 5:15, let us know. It's not good enough. And I do not like people being late. You know, I want them to look like coaches and act like coaches, and please let us know. That's very important, because we hold the coaches. I tell you what, if you're a young coach, you're not going to be living on a yacht in 10 years. You're not going to be a millionaire. And that's maybe it's the hardest thing about getting young coaches. They get paid very little, and they have an unbelievable amount of work. But we hope that they are hungry to help develop young people. Those are the responsibilities. The video analysis for the classic teams, I'm going to work with them on hopefully presenting some video stuff to teams once a year. You know, and this is what we want our players. So whichever level, whether they're under 13 or they move to another sport, or maybe it's they move to the elite part of the program, or perhaps they're moving the area, we want them to have these. This is the culture I want to create. You know, and that's very important. And that's everyone's involved in that, but that's what we're looking to create. Kids with a growth mindset, fighting mentality, healthy habits, and always thinking and learning about the game and questioning the game. So this is very hard to see, and I don't expect you, I'm just going to explain parts of it. So from January the 1st till July the 1st, I spent 6 months trying to improve the club. And it's tough for me. If I could coach every session, I'm not trying to be arrogant, but the club would be a lot better. But I haven't got time to do that. You know, physically I can't get around every team. So what I've tried to do is create a tactical periodization schedule. So for example, we're in week 3 now. So it's, I think, small group attacking, and it gives the date. So if they're a classic coach, 2 out of their 3 sessions have got to be on small group attacking. And every week they've got specifics they're working. Clearly we'll have rest and regeneration, they'll do a bit of futsal, and they've got an annual training plan. So we know on every week what we're looking for. And just to give you a guide, there's basically 4 moments of the game. So you're attacking, you've got the ball, you're defending, you haven't got the ball, you've just won the ball or you've just lost the ball. So those are the only moments of the game, really. And just to give people a guide to what we're looking for, and I'll talk a little bit about the session plans, and I know you can't read all of that, and a lot of this we gained from Seattle Sounders, and we feel very fortunate to have these annual training plans for our players. And everyone, whether you're on a gold team, a royal team, it doesn't matter, you're going to follow this plan. Just like in school, they have curriculums and topics and principles. And all of our sessions are focused on learning through the game. So we don't want, you know, players standing in lines or doing activities that don't look like the game. At times that might happen in a warm-up, but we want the players to learn through the playing. And the creation of confidence, that's really important. Help develop confident young people. Technical execution under pressure. You know, when I put up the slide earlier about technique, and it was a high priority, but really it should have said technique under pressure, because you know, if I just pass a ball against this wall, and maybe I can do it okay, but can I do it when the defender's running in at this angle? In a game, you're always going to play against defenders. I always want our coaches to understand in training, sometimes in games, they might have to have a little bit more of a command style, hopefully not much more. So you need to, you know, shift in there, you need to support on this angle. But in training, we want it to be guided discovery to help young players learn and improve. And the use of open-ended questions is always vital. So we don't really want to ask questions where they can answer yes or no. Now, one thing I've found with guided discovery, you've got to learn to ask the right question. Within a group as well, there's always 1 or 2 kids who can answer every question and some will answer none. So I help educate the coaches, you know, check for learning with a player who possibly doesn't feel comfortable speaking in front of other people. And that's what we're trying to do. That's just an example of the details of a session. And I'll go into, we have a coaching resource page where there's 200 of these sessions. And basically 6 of us created these 200 sessions that all the club use. And I mean, that's an astronomical amount of work gone into that session. And you can see with the coaching points, we're asking questions of them. We're not just saying you do this. Regardless of anything, I want players to leave this club with this, because this will help you in your life, whether you're a player, a parent, or a coach. And every day you get tested on this. And some of this is more players, of course, but that's what I want in our players, if I could all get it. You know, in every day you're going to be tested, and it's easy to go on the other side, and you know, the other side of all this is the victim, but I've not put those slides up today. I just want the fighter mentality. I'm not saying physical fighting, I'm saying in your brain and how it works, and you never give up. I love the phrase, embraces adversity. I think that's fantastic for kids in this area. So if you're 3-0 down, okay, that's life. We're going to get on it, we're going to improve, we're going to work harder, we're going to embrace adversity, we're not just going to give in. And that is exactly the type of player I feel I was I think I was close to that. Maybe stays in control. Some games I'll get a bit fired up, but I was pretty close to that. And I love being coached. I wanted to learn. I wanted to improve. You know, here's some of the expectations of parents. And when I put these slides up, I never want parents to feel, oh, he's telling us how to be a parent. I am not a parent. I do not know how to be a parent. But I've had 20 years experience in this world, and I've seen the most incredible parents in the world, and I've seen the worst. But hopefully I've seen the worst. Maybe I haven't yet. But be supportive, not obsessive. And that's a fine line, you know. And I think, and again, I'm not a parent, so it's easy for me to say that. But I think you guys know what a supportive parent is, and I think you know what an obsessive parent is. Please be understanding of the process. I've seen a million examples of players at under 11 being on a 4th team, under 14 being on an elite team. I've seen players who are on the A team at under 11, never worked at the game, quit when they were under 13. A lot comes down to the intrinsic motivation of the player, but players develop at different rates. Players' body changes at different rates, and help the player take ownership of their development. So I'll give you a few examples of what that means. Have your son or daughter pack their bag. That's it, it's your kit, it's your game. You must pack your bag. Rather than, sometimes I see parents come across at half-time with a water. Why is it not in the bag? You know, just things like that help the player take ownership of their development. You know, I want you to be supportive, but I want you to help the players really know what they've got to do. Enjoy the experience. Win or lose, who cares? Enjoy it. I'm not a parent. If my son or daughter played football, that would be fantastic, because it's given me so much of my life, soccer. What I'm trying to say is, don't just enjoy the experience because you won. You know, enjoy watching your son or daughter play, because it all goes over really quickly. And when I sit in the room, we do a end of year for all the girls, end of December, we do a nice little, they have some food and drinks, and every parent says to me, you know, Mark, you were right, I should have enjoyed it more. Interesting, isn't it? Where people only find that out when it's all finished. And don't coach from the sidelines, but I'm not saying it should be a library. Be positive, right? Be positive, be encouraging, but it's just, like, I don't know how else to explain this, but apart from, if I had the ball and 10 people shout different things at me, what do? Then all I'm doing, I'm listening to, I'm getting the ball, waiting for a parent to tell me what to do. And admittedly, I don't want a coach telling the player on the ball what to do every time. We want our players to learn to be autonomous decision makers. So they make decisions related to the game, where the space is, where the defender is. And hopefully they've gone through this in practice before, so educate them on it. And I know that's tough at times, and I know that the game gets exciting and things like that. But if you are coaching, and a lot of parents, well, it's my child, I'll coach them. But you must understand they play part of a team, and if you do that, you're doing a disservice to your child. So, you know, I don't think that's a good plan. And positive reinforcement of good play for both teams. That's so important to me. This weekend at the Twin City Classic, it's always obvious the team that's just scored, the parents are celebrating, they're running down the line, then you look at the team that hasn't scored, head in hands, parents walking away. It shouldn't be like that. It's kids playing soccer, it's kids having a kick around. Hopefully in a good environment, but I'm not saying we don't want our kids to be competitive. I would like them to all be successful, but just understand what it's all about and help them, you know, be positive. If you see a good bit of play for someone in the opposition, it's great, well done. And I think that just sets the standard of what it's about, because too many parents make the game about them, too many coaches make the game about them, Too many refs make the game about them, but really, it's a players' game. It should be about these people, and that's very important. So for the 07s, we would like the players to take ownership. In that, it's still, I understand, quite a tough thing, having your son or daughter speak to the coach about things they can learn. But the sooner they get to do that, the better they're going to be in their lives. And I know it's tough. I know that's not an easy thing. You know, we ask, if you've got an issue or something you'd like to sort, please wait 24 hours. And we say 24 hours, you'll just calm down. You just calm down. So the concern you had that you thought on Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock, Monday afternoon at 4 when you've had a day at work and you've got other things, it wasn't that important. And I'm not saying it isn't important. We want to help with that. But I think you understand what I'm trying to say. I'm the under 11 to 14 boys director. Alex is under 11 to 14 girls. And so we wanted to go to the coach first, and then the director next, and then it would come to me after that, and then Scott. Hopefully it doesn't go, well, hopefully we can sort these issues. And again, if people communicate with us respectfully, we want to sort problems out. And I'm not at all going to stand here at the start of the season and say things aren't going to go wrong. Yes, they are. There'll be teams losing heavily. There'll be a coach not doing what you want. Maybe it's the rep, There'll be concerns, but if you communicate respectfully, we will try and solve it. And often I find when there's issues, people are so angry, but when we all sit down and try to sort it out together, it's wonderful. You can get some good solutions. And please don't wait till the end of the year. If there's a problem, you can wait 24 hours, email us, and we'll try to solve it. And what we've said to the coaches, if you receive an email from a parent about issues, just send it to us and let us know so we're on board with it. And we'll help the coach answer not like send it to us because we know the right thing to say. We'll help you answer that question. Or this is where sometimes coaches get a little bit, how can the parent, and we'll say, yeah, I understand the parent's a little bit frustrated at that. Here's how you need to communicate with them. So I never want you to think it's coaches v parents or players against. It's not like that. We're all in it together. Last slide. I know there's a lot going on here. Forget all the stuff down here. But so by October the 29th, you will get the opportunity to meet with the coach, and we'll go over the Zoom report. We're doing it a little bit earlier this year. I think that the dates will be sent out by October the 29th, so it'll give the opportunity for the player to receive feedback, and then you'll have a few weeks before the end of the season. Because sometimes I feel the season ends, you have the feedback, and they don't play again until January. You know what I mean? So they'll have a little bit of time to improve on those areas. I hope coaches are clearly I hope they're offering feedback in training all the time. And if you ever want feedback from a coach, ask them. Say, can you just give me a little bit of feedback, a specific area they can work on? Just to give you a guide, after every training session, each coach evaluates all the players. After every game, they evaluate all the players. So we have a constant updated thing. We have these individual depth charts. So it's not like on October the 29th, people think, how's this player done? You can look at the performance throughout the whole season, which is very important. And last little point, because I know, like some of you guys this weekend might have been in tough brackets and you were getting hammered and you've got a new young coach and you're thinking, what am I paying for? What's this club all about? But here's the coach's resource that everyone's got. So just to give you a guide, and I can click on any of these, I'm not going to do it, but this is what which I created, which every coach has now got. So that we're all on the same page. And so for example, if I'm an under 11, under 12 coach, I just click on here. I think I would do it. There you go. And suppose they will work on, I don't know, progression activity. And so they then go, all right, today we're in whatever, week 5, we're working on playing through the lines. They just click on here. And then the session comes up. And with this they can share it, they can print it. So some of the things we've asked, that's probably a bad example because it hasn't got it. Let's go another one. Okay, so all the coaches must have these session plans with them. Every session plan they could ever want is in this place, in this one document. And when I went to Seattle, I had to present on what we do as a club to effectively the standards we keep by. And no other club has this. No other Seattle partner club. In like under 13, under 14, there's an incredible amount of sessions. Obviously some of the under 11, under 12 ones relate to under 13, 14. Every coach has access to all these sessions, and this is just a wonderful resource. And clearly this is a work in progress. We've started it, it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then hopefully in 6 months I sell this all off, become a millionaire, live on a yacht, say, see you later. Okay, is there any questions I can answer? Or anything related to any of the information we're giving? And well, the one thing I want you to take away from today, I know some of you guys this weekend, it was like you were in the wrong bracket, you were playing really good teams, or not good teams, but relatively better teams, and you're like, what are we doing? We've got a young coach, and I'm not going to stand here and not, I understand that. Just give us the respect that, you know, some of the young coaches, it's a work in progress, it takes time, and also we're trying to give them every possible resource to be a better coach. But I'm sure everyone you guys work with, not everyone's perfect, everyone's got different things, but hopefully you can see what we're trying to do. Whether we're quite there yet, I'm not sure, but at least we've got a plan, right? Any questions? Well, thank you very much for coming. I really appreciate it. And obviously, if there's any questions, you want to email me individually, I'll always answer them. Thank you very much.